Before we get into my video footage of the gear vendor installation, I just want to say this does not replace reading the directions. This is not anything to do with a step-by-step installation. Of course, follow their manufacturer guidelines, read their instructions. This is footage captured from my installation. A couple things I want to disclose is a week ahead of time, I went ahead and put the gear vendor in to get a measurement for a drive shaft. Since I bought my gear vendor on the secondary market, it actually came with a drive shaft. It was already somewhat short, but it was out of a Chevelle, so a little bit longer than for my application. So I got those measurements, got the drive shaft shortened before this installation video. Also, there was some clearancing of the floorboard. There's a brace. You'll see, I'll try to highlight in the video, right behind the tail housing. So there's a brace that goes up and over along the transmission tunnel, and that had to be clearanced for the gear vendor to fit in there properly. And those two things were done again about a week ahead of time, so it kind of expedite the installation. All right, Saturday 6/11, 3:30 in the afternoon. We're going to start installing the gear vendor. We'll see how long it takes two below average people and one above average person to install a gear vendor. He might just do videotaping over here, or recording, but we'll see. Working on the drive shaft now. There's the short one there. We're in around 39 inches or so from center to center on the U-joints. So that's about what I came up with when I measured it with the yoke in a week ago. So we're gonna get started, tearing into it now. We'll see how it goes.
Oh, fancy camera. There's no like washers and anything.
I just bought a whole bag of washers at the house. You know what happens is you set them somewhere and all of a sudden you go to reassemble it, where'd the washer go? You just throw legs and walk away.
So apparently it goes back together without them.
Well, when you don't have them, you take it apart, you kind of deal with what you're dealt. I mean, you might have a hidden washer bin here I don't know about.
Maybe.
I'll hit you up if you need it.
Does the exhaust have to come out? Why was that out the other day?
It was out because it's easier to get these bolts in full range of motion.
Yeah. We need a ratcheting.
I don't know if the head will fit.
Yeah, once you get them busted loose,
Yeah?
with the big wrench, then you slide up in there with the little wrench. Are they half inch or 9/16?
9/16, sir. Here.
Uh-oh.
Just wondering how much training fluid's going to dump out. Here. Hold the yoke.
That's for sure. Oh, maybe the exhaust come out to get their crossmember out.
We need the crossmember out?
I don't know. If we got a cut and weld on it, we will.
What's that?
If you got a cut and weld on it, it's gonna have to come out.
Why would we have to do that? Oh, just this piece here?
Yeah.
No.
Where's your pry bar that you just had?
Oh, for what?
Get it back out.
Yeah. Or do you want a hammer?
No, you don't want a hammer on it. Pry bar works good.
Mean like a hammer mean like a mallet.
Baby drive shaft, do 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 do.
Is that how much space you really lose?
Yeah, it's like 12 or 14 inches or something.
Huh.
To that, 2 1/4.
Yep, now you're gonna know Popeye route royalties. This would be a good spot. We can cut to commercial. Will it fit? Oh no! We'll have to sell the shop.
Well, we're in the air, suspended, right? So it'll be like, I think we'll be all right, Leia.
Nope.
However, if we take it in sections, maybe not.
Well, I'm bolted close. Do you have the sleevey thing?
Yeah.
Now, is there any way to fill it with fluid once it's in there? Or should we fill it while it's out?
That's what I thought about. If you have one of those little squeezy cans, where's the thing? Where's the filler? Trying to set it where I'm looking at.
What does the vent do?
Vents pressure out of there. So anytime you've got an enclosed thing, it's got a seal here and a seal here. As the temperature increases and it heats up, it creates pressure. Pressure will blow seals out and create leaks. So this just relieves pressure.
Oh, so why go through all the trouble putting an AN fitting on it? Is I guess
Well,
that's
it doesn't look factory. It looks like somebody added that.
yeah,
It looks like it's been welded.
yeah.
But we could just shove it. I mean, I was just thinking just a piece of hose on it like that. So if it ever did have to spew out, it would just spew straight down, and we wouldn't be like, "Where's it leaking from?" It'd be like, "Oh, it's coming out of there."
Yeah.
Let's see what we got. Let's fix that.
So that is a precisely calibrated rear end speedometer gear, right?
Just need a little bit of grip.
Yeah.
You say this one's for 411s. Yeah, this one is.
All right, wait. We can get them side by side. I don't see much of a difference.
The teeth count, bro.
Uh,
Oh, it's definitely diameter is different, right?
I mean, maybe I don't know.
Does it have a number on it?
Yeah, in the front here is there something? Or is that just the plastic?
I thought it counted. The one had 42 teeth. That just says PPP. I don't know.
Yeah.
Where's your schmutz?
What?
Your greasers? What are we doing?
Give us like a sit rep player. What happened in here?
Okay, so we were thinking we had to modify the cross member. This is something I've had since I've had the car. It used to have, I don't know, probably a Chrysler transmission. Who knows? It had a Chrysler rear end at one point. So this is kind of a funky tab added
race
to
car
this
stuff.
differential.
You have a driver still?
And we were concerned we'd have to cut it, make some modifications. We don't. We're going to go right back in.
Well, I tell you what.
We get some longer bolts for the gear bender, where bolts to the housing, and slap the drive shaft in, and away we go, hopefully.
Oh yeah.
Then it's on to wiring, which could be tricky. We'll see.
Will it run without wires? I'm assuming
Yeah,
it's
you
just
just don't engage it, right?
it's just not engaged. It engages via this little solenoid here.
Really? When I measured it, it was with the rear end on that back rack. And I had him keep another 1/8 length than I thought it would be. It was kind of in between. I had 5/8 because I kind of looked at where this was compared to like the other drive. I guess it was that drive shaft. And there was like 5/8 difference where I had the yoke to where the center was with the suspension loaded. Because it was like 39 1/8. and I said give me 38 7/8. So I took a 1/2 inch extra from what was this part of the cup, which is the center part of the back E joint.
Huh.
That's why you get to the chop off.
Wasn't there a gasket?
No ring.
Oh, what was the gasket that was on the floor?
It goes to this section here,
Oh,
the intermediate section.
well, why did you need that?
In case you took it apart, because some people will install the intermediate section and then put everything together from that point.
Huh.
But since this slipped right in, we can bypass that step.
Huh.
Do you realize I'm holding this the whole time? Oh, he's looking for stuff. All right, well, I'm going to set this down if you're going to be a minute. Oh, here it is. Oh, here he goes.
The only reason I said this because I saw it had goo on it before.
Yeah, better here than like on the ground at a racetrack somewhere when you're like spewing train
Yeah,
fluid and then you can't
yeah.
race.
Now watch, I'll never line it up again. Got lucky.
You're at the end there?
Feels like it.
So that's basically it, right? I mean, you're gonna put the bolts in there, tighten it up, put the drive shaft back in it, and
Cross member, transmission mount.
where's the cross member?
What's our cross member?
Oh, you gotta put the you got
And bolted it.
you gotta put those cross member
Because I thought
bolts
there would
back
be some
on.
modifications made.
Okay.
Well, we are farting it. Use your fingers.
Safety first. Bob, who assembled such a fine-looking drive shaft?
It was reduced in length by no. I was going to say transmissions to go. That's,
They're across.
It does, but Drive Shafts Unlimited is who shortened it.
Yeah.
Very quick turnaround times. Very race week friendly turnaround times. Because we don't give them much time to turn it around. And I had originally thought about going with like a carbon fiber shaft, but I'd rather make sure the length is right before I spend that kind of money. Because these things are kind of heavy, even though it's not very long and it's supposed to be chromoly. It's just the thickness of the material for these high horsepower applications.
He is in a half inch or 9/16.
9/16.
D's.
These washers.
Oh, no, they were nuts.
These washers.
D's nuts. So, not as funny with washers because the joke doesn't work, but oh well, we tried.
Is it long enough? Were they like bottomed out?
They stuck out a little bit.
I don't know. I don't think you got room for this.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I would just. I mean, I got like that.
just tighten a lot.
438. How are we looking?
We're down to electrical, it looks like. So now,
If you guys want to be like big time influencers, you gotta like yell a
impressed
lot and have a lot to say.
Why does this bolt seem, or this nut seems super snug before I even get where it should be?
So you're having a problem with these?
These threads? Yes, these threads. Oh, we need catchy slogans. I think that's part of it, right?
good night.
Like the something buddy and Hee Haw McGraw or whatever
That's
these people
something,
do.
buddy.
Oh, you mean like a catchphrase or nicknames?
All of it. We need all of it.
That's something, buddy. I like that one. Hee-haw McGraw. I think that's already taken.
Oh, dang it.
What about Yeehaw McGraw? Totally different.
I'm going to run this along the wire wheel real quick and just clean up the threads. Let there be drama. Just thrashing away, and when something didn't feel right, we backed it off, took a look at it. Sure enough, I wasn't happy. The threads on this U-bolt were compromised. But we will rebuild it. Feels like when I had shop class and we had to thread our little hammers. We were supposed to go down a little bit, then back off, go down a little bit, back off. Really?
Do you have a big black one?
Well, big block would be a 716.
In my 7/16, you clearly mean freedom units.
What?
Freedom units. So people on YouTube call the imperial, and that's what the measuring system is called, right? Is imperial, but on YouTube they call it freedom units, in contrast to metric.
I call it millimetro. Okay, metric's fine.
Content we're missing.
So now we're using small block Chevy rocker nuts as our lock nut for this fine threaded strange engineering U-bolt for this high horsepower application, and we're using the red Loctite just as a safety precaution
So you're putting Loctite on these
on these threads.
threads. Maybe that could be like the gimmick, is that we never say these nuts, you just like these something. At least it's the same size. It would be annoying is like you get out somewhere and then all of a sudden you realize
Well, that's good to know.
what,
If for some reason that the nuts were junk, you could just go get a small block Chevy.
yeah,
So there you go.
somebody will have something like that sitting around. You got what appears to be a flared brake line inside of a ATF bottle, piercing a hole in there. Oh, now we're going to apply a high pressure air. This will do nothing but be awesome. Is it? You doing it?
Yeah, like at the sight on the side. You see it going down?
Bloop, 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 bloop. Yeah.
And we're full.
Oh, and we're doing up top.
Imagine how your forearms would feel using Grandpa's old whisper. Seeing all that pain and anguish.
But all that's the same basic reservoir of transmission fluid as the rest of the tranny, right?
Yeah.
No?
Yeah.
It's separate?
It's sealed.
Oh. Are you sure about that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because the
It had its
bushing
own
that
seal.
connects the two shafts is sealed. And it seals against another bushing internally, so there is no transfer fluid between the two.
The one internal's not. It's not sealed because
The front half fluid in the
It's-
training gets
it's
stopped.
gonna fill up that
From the back.
little adapter housing
Yeah,
with training
but it
fluid.
cannot leak into the back section
But
where
it
the gear
won't
bender
go-
planetaries are.
The
Okay.
gear bender is separate from the front half of it.
That's the part that was confusing me. I figured it was coming from where the tail shaft housing used to be. So, front
So
part.
multiple different cap attachments here.
Front part gets fluid. This is a separate reservoir. Okay, now we got it. So what, 508? And we started, what was it, 331 or something?
Yeah, like 332. The wiring would be another hour and a half like that.
You think?
How fancy you want to do it. There's a lot of wires that can really do a whole lot of crazy stuff. Oh, you know what? We still need to weld in that. We're gonna take the drive shaft back out and weld in that thing.
Drive shaft fluid.
The loop.
Uh-oh.
Well, that's at the house anyway. That's something
Oh,
I'll
you
do.
didn't even bring it?
No.
Alright, we'll go drive it, and if we do come back, we won't need to lift it again.
Right.
So don't pull so far forward because we're going to have the doors open and stuff.
So you heard him. He gave us permission to go to his test facility, closed course in Mexico, to make sure the drive shaft and the gear bender don't make a bunch of weird, crazy vibrations at near highway speed.
I don't feel anything.
Oh, we only went 45 miles an hour? There we go. Didn't get real happy there at the top end. The engine part of it.
Yeah.
Not the driveline.
But yeah, this is with your new distributor, right? Or your ignition system that isn't mapped. But as far as...
I don't have it armed, so it
Oh.
shouldn't be cutting any timing necessarily.
How do you arm it?
And it could just be fuel level too, right? Could be kind of ran out of gas with the G-forces and low tank.
But as far as the gear benders and everything,
I think we're happy with it. Hit the button. Oh, look at the RPM disappear. Not yet. Soon. Soon. Yeah, I mean, just a little bit of pressure on that pedal. She wants to come to a stop. I feel like that's our problem with the draggy brakes. Blocking the light, or do you not feed it yet? No? Hang on. Yeah, there we go. Yeah. Alright. Yep.
good quality coating.
Back down
That's fine.
Where the kick panel was.
Well, I want to put the kick panel on because I don't want too much heat in.
Do you have a kick panel?
Yeah.
Well, we could still mount it there though and put it behind the. Mounting this in here would be a good spot because the little wires are kind of we can put it inside this where the kick panel goes.
Okay.
You're okay with that?
That's fine. As long as the wires have enough room to go up and over the thing.
So what do we got going on?
Screwing this
Shifter knob threads on the shifter were just a little ate up. And it wasn't going on smoothly, so we didn't want to screw anything up with this fancy shifter knob.
Oh, so you just kind of cleaned out the threads over there. This wasn't like a major remodel or
They're working now.
so you press that button and that's when the magic happens?
Well, there's another button too that I don't understand completely yet. There's
Oh.
automatic mode and manual mode. Okay.
Oh, huh.
Seems like one button would be enough, but we want to make it complicated, add more buttons.
What triggers the automatic mode?
The other button? It's gonna be on the dash.
But then you still gotta turn it on with the shifter though.
Does one like arm it or something?
That's that.
Does it like
There's
arm?
two different automatic mode, and I don't know what it does. Or you can turn it on manual mode, and then the other button just turns it on.
That's what I'm trying to get at. What is?
I don't know what it does. We're gonna find out. The instructions were very vague.
I've got to believe manual or automatic mode would have to read like either your RPMs or your some sort of.
It's connected to the speedometer cable on the output, which was specifically set up for this car.
Huh.
So I don't know.
Oh. So maybe like you hit 88 miles an hour and then things happen.
Right.
Do 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 do. Should you disconnect the battery at all? No, should you? Jeff is currently looking for a suitable ignition hot spot. Not a Wi-Fi hot spot.
And I'd like one out of this fuse panel, but there's only one option in the fuse panel, and it's for a light circuit. So we're gonna have to find hotness somewhere else.
Hotness! Bob, what do you got going on your end?
I am running a wire from the fancy shifter knob button under the carpet to, I assume, wherever he's going to be.
Yeah, somewhere over here.
To the flux capacitor. Jeff, what are you doing there?
Soldering wires together. Shrink and heat shrink.
That sounds exciting.
That is exciting.
He's doing his double fused wire, crimp plus solder.
No, just straight solder.
This is not trick photography. It is now 7:16, a full 3 hours, 45 minutes into the job. We did a test drive just to make sure the drive shaft and the gear vendor were happy without hooking any wires up. Big G here is meticulously wiring the controller and these little fancy lights, and now we've got the button on the shifter knob, then there's a button on the dashboard. So we are making, we've got a couple of wires that are going to go underneath.
We're down to 4 wires.
But most, they're run through the firewall already. We just got to get under it and hook them up. And then I had a little issue with the brakes sticking on the front, so we're going to take a look at that here in a little bit as well. Things are crawling along, but they're moving. The tachometer was working. Oh. Maiden voyage part 2, the tach wasn't working, and so we couldn't see what kind of RPM drop we had with the overdrive. Here we go, we're in 3rd gear now. On the highway. I mean, it feels like we're in it, but it clearly isn't. So we're at 3,600 RPM, probably going 70. We're gonna hit the overdrive. 2,900. We need to get an app so we know how fast we're going, but
There, hit the button again.
alright.
That's 500 RPM.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. 500 RPM drop with one little button push.
With 350 rear gear right now, so, and we're blowing by everybody, so I imagine we're hauling mud. We just don't have a speedometer to tell us. So hopefully we'll get some real data with that and then wrap this dude up. Get ready for race week.
Race week, 1 week away.
All right, thanks for watching the video. Definitely want to give a shout out to Big G of Big G Garage on YouTube. Please look him up, like and subscribe over there, like and subscribe here, of course. Absolutely more content to come. Probably more dyno sessions in the near future as we're building a new power plant for the Nova. Thanks for Mateo for capturing the footage. Couldn't do it without him and his witty sense of humor. He's been on my last couple of videos here, and I think he adds great production value, and he's always looking to make everything that I do better. So I appreciate that. So again, thanks for watching.